Okay, we are live, Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum. A very good morning to everyone. Alhamdulillah, today we are here for another session of Engineers Hope, Engineers Series by Jazari Engineers Network, a collaboration between Jazari Engineers Network, GEN, and Tertiary Career Conference, TCC, and supported by Association of Muslim Professionals, EMP. Okay, today, Alhamdulillah, we have Brother Mulyadi, who is with us today. So a brief intro about Brother Mulyadi. All right. So hello, Assalamualaikum, Brother Mulyadi. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Brother Mulyadi is currently the project manager for the newly constructed SMRT Thomson-East Coast Line. Over a career spanning 19 years, he has accumulated extensive experience in the urban railway transportation, particularly in the signaling and communications. He started his humble career in SMRT Maintenance Division, beginning from a technician where he was responsible for maintaining the train system, and thereafter progressed throughout his career into a leadership and management role. He is a strong believer in lifelong learning and an advocate for continuous education. He attained both his engineering diploma at Temasek Polytechnic and bachelor's degree at the National University of Singapore, NUS. Other than his core duties, Mulyadi had groomed many new and young executive engineers, as well as guiding student interns from various tertiary schools at different levels. All right, so Brother Mulyadi, can you maybe share with us your story, a bit about how you joined your industry, the SMRT company and all that?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for this invitation. I think I'm glad to share my experience, my lifelong learning. Okay, I started off way back in 2001. Back then I was a junior technician. So when I started my working there in SMRT, so I realized that I need to upgrade myself. I need to improve because after working for maybe about 2 months, I realized that we need to constantly upgrade because we need to have the relevant skill set and all that. So after that, my journey continued into, I took part-time studies and all that. Okay, because I believe that we cannot be happy with what we are. We need to constantly learn, even if we are just taking short courses, just doing our own reading. Okay, that is, to me, it's good enough. The important thing is we cannot be just staying constant. Yeah. So after I
see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying, sorry.
Okay. So after a few months after I started to upgrade myself, then I realized that you have to take on leadership roles to slowly gear you to be more confident of yourself. Yeah. Okay, so you have to. You have to have that self. You have to find ways to build your confidence.
Okay, so you actually started from a technician level. When is that? Is it before your diploma or after your diploma?
It was way before my diploma. So I started just technician. Realized that to even we should be hardworking, but then we must also realize that we need to taking diploma, taking further advancing your studies, degree and all that. These are actually the key, the key to open the door. Because without this, it's. I'm not saying it's impossible, but then with these certifications, it helps you to advance yourself. It is just like a key, you open the door to your career, and then once you have this key, which is actually your certs and all that, it helps you to open the door further.
Okay, so you stayed on with SMRT before your diploma till your degree level.
Yes, you're right.
I see. So you took diploma and degree while working, is it?
Yes, while working. So it is actually that is something that not easy, but something that is also not impossible.
Okay.
I know several students, when you start to work, you start to think that actually if you start to take part-time studies, you need to balance a lot. Yes, indeed, you need to balance a lot. So as we know, we need to balance our work, we need to balance family, but then you always have to, your family will always be supportive. But if we don't want to throw ourselves, then we will never want to start to study. So we should commit ourselves.
Okay. Okay, so maybe there's a very interesting story actually, that you actually take the effort to continue your studies while working and sacrifice in that sense. And how does education actually help in your career progression? How does having a diploma and degree help in your career progression?
Okay, notwithstanding with the training that you have at your workplace, getting all this is actually the rudiment of your engineering skill set, because you may not be having a proper training, but then as you take all these courses, you are actually staying relevant. Something that is new, in this new era, there are always new things, new skill set that you need, which you may not be able to get it. So actually, all this just getting you to stay relevant, learning new things, and importantly is you need to adapt. You need to bring this back to your workplace. You need to try to practice all this, because if else it will just be paper.
I see. Yeah. So to continue your studies, do you take advice from your seniors, or how did it go? Is it self-motivation that you wanted to do this yourself, or you took advice from your seniors in SMRT?
Okay, of course there are seniors in SMRT. When they say junior stuff, they always say, you are still young, why not take something? So that is actually one of the thinking points. When they start to give all this advice, then you start to do a self-reflection. Are they saying, should I be hearing what they say? That is when you start to think that yes, maybe they are right. At a young age, maybe you should be committing yourself to study and all that. So of course, when all these advices came, I start to look at other people, other role model, because they always say that it's not impossible, but then you do self-reflection, then you think what are the risks, what are the things that you need to sacrifice. You may not have some of your free time, you may need to cut down on certain things that you do. So it is like a commitment, and then when you see that actually it's not impossible, other people are already doing it, other people are already successful in doing that. Oh, so why not you? It's nothing impossible. So the motivation is always like, okay, someone is already doing it, done it, then why not you? What is stopping you? There's already a model there, so why not you?
Right. So actually, you look young, even though you have already 19 years of experience in the working line. You still look young. So are you, because you are doing project management now, yes. So are you thinking of continuing your studies because I think your degree is in engineering, am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, so are you thinking of taking like project management courses or
yes, I think it's good. Currently I'm taking some online courses, by Learning Hub from NTUC. That's why, in fact, with our current situation, there are always a lot of opportunities. If you look at how our Singapore education system is, they are always giving the opportunity, taking all these courses. In fact, I'm currently also taking some project management courses, just to, sometimes you think that, okay, you're already there, but then there are some things that you may not know, you may take away from all these short courses. Yeah.
I see. All right. Okay, so moving on, maybe I can touch a bit about the COVID-19. How does it affect your industry and your working life, whether you are working from home, or how does it affect?
Okay, I think COVID-19 is something that I think not only Singapore but then globally. Of course, every organization in Singapore are taking heed of the instructions and advice. Of course, in my organization itself, I'm sure even the public, the passengers are well aware of the situation. Everybody is just disciplined. So in our workplace, we have all the team segregation, we have split teams. So in fact, I think it's similar measures that we have, all this safe distancing. The blessing that I think for COVID-19 is actually the taking advantage of online learning. I think that you suddenly start to see a lot of online learning platforms mushrooming up. So it is actually a blessing. You are now able to make use of technology like what we are doing now. We are doing teleconferencing. Even at our workplace, we have meetings that is taking place via teleconferencing. And actually, it is. If I look at it, it's more productive because you're able to. You don't have to commute. Sometimes at what I'm doing, I need to be at several locations. I need to be at my office. Sometimes I need to be traveling to maybe some other locations to have meetings. It's always a balance of trying to be there when it's needed. So with this COVID-19, I think it's a blessing. Everyone is now taking this teleconferencing as a new norm. I think it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
I see. Yeah, right. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I think that this teleconferencing is also such a boon to even our Jazari Engineers Network, where we have all these talks at the comfort of our own homes. Alhamdulillah.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. Yes.
Okay, so maybe moving on, can you maybe share some tips that you can give to young engineers and maybe recent graduates, because of the job industry is already hit by the COVID-19 impact and all that? What advice and tips can you give them? Maybe 2 tips. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for young engineers, okay, because myself, I was also young. So when we were young, okay, actually when you guys are young, we don't really have the our vision, our horizon is not that far. We always think that, okay, let's just take things at a time, let's see what happens next. But then of course, if we do that, we are not preparing for the long term. And my advice is don't have to really look far, don't have to really look beyond, don't have to like have a 15 years plan. Short term plan is good enough. It's really good because you are actually breaking up your targets, instead of, okay, maybe in 15 years time I would want to do this. So plan at short intervals, maybe 2 years, 5 years. Maybe by 2 years, I want to attain something. I want to maybe upgrade myself. By 5 years, I would want to be in certain position. So if I want to get to that position, what do I need? So try to break down your targets, micro them up. Of course, when we are young engineers, we do not really know what is ahead of us. So my thing is, when there are challenges, when there's something that even you may not know, sometimes you're given tasks that I have never done this. I don't know, maybe, okay, I give it a pass. Some people that, but the thing is, if you are given something, just grab it. You may not know it, but then why you do it, while you take that is the opportunity for you to learn. And then when you actually do things that you do not know, that is the best way of learning, and you might end up doing it better. You may do it different from the rest of the people. So doing something that you may not know is something you should take advantage. The other thing that I would want our young engineers to also take up is, at times we are not able to do everything. We don't have the opportunity. Maybe your colleague may be doing something that you are not given the task, but that does not stop you from understanding what he's doing, learning from what he's doing. So always, the environment around you, the people around you, try to understand what is happening. Look at the bigger picture, not just looking at yourself. Look at the surrounding around you, and try to adapt. Try to learn what are they doing, what are they going towards. That is, you are not doing it. You don't have the opportunity, but then you are learning from it. So, and the next one is example. If you are tasked to do something that you are not doing, you are already ready. You know what's happening instead of starting from scratch. So keep an open mind. Your situational awareness must be there. You have to be really aware of your surrounding. So when you're thrown, to do something different at the last minute, at least okay, you know what's happening. So keep an open mind. Don't look at just a silo kind of vision, but then spread yourself. You have to spread yourself so that you know what's happening around you. Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Sometimes the things that people do not want to do, that is actually you should take advantage of that. Some tasks that are too strenuous, too time consuming, maybe people do not really want to go, but then you should deep dive on that. Take advantage. The things that some people do not want to do, that is what you should nail. You should be doing it and then scoring at it. Yeah.
So it's a niche in a way, is it? Yeah, the things that people don't want to do, if you know how to do, it will be a niche for you.
Yes,
it will be. Right. I see.
Then you are known for that. You will be not well known for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Sorry, I think the connection. All right. Okay, so okay, from what I get from your sharing, that is that we have to keep an open mind and we should actually open our horizon and do things that are outside our job scope. Is that what you mean?
Yes, we should be looking at things that are out of scope.
So how about Okay, so how about the responsibility side? Like if you do something outside your job scope, like how do you take care of the responsibility? And if you do something that is not right, as in if you do something outside your job scope but you don't do it correctly, so how do you balance that out? Because I know at SMRT there are some incidents, for example, that unfortunate incidents that happened. Because I think my friend was a technician last time. His friend got hit by an MRT and all that. So it's kind of sometimes life and death. Sometimes can cause injury. So how do these engineers take charge and not do things outside their job scope, but not be responsible in that sense for all these injuries?
Right. Okay. I think apart from apart from wanting to learn, wanting to do things that is out of your scope or out of your context, I think the important thing is we should always take safety. Safety as something that is not only important to us but to the people around you, to your body. Even within your family. It's always something that we should take priority, even when you're crossing the road. Even when you are walking. So the safety mindset must always be there. So when you have this, always have this in your mind, it becomes subconsciously it becomes natural. And when this becomes natural, you will always be you don't even have to think about it. It becomes like a habit, a ritual. Before you go out of the home, for us, we do our prayers. It becomes very natural. You don't have to even remind. So safety is also something like that. If you are very if we are put it as number one, it is always subconsciously it becomes a natural habit. So when we have all this in place, I'm sure we are able to manage things, scope that are not within our control, because we are able to at least influence. We can influence the outcome. We can drive things that are not going our way, we can drive it with our influence.
I see. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for your sharing. I think moving on, maybe can you share 3 important lessons that you have learned throughout your 19 years of experience, that 3 valuable lessons that you think you can share with the audience?
Okay, I think first thing is not to be afraid. Okay, not to be afraid to be out of your comfort zone. I think that takes a big courage. It takes a big leap. Just imagine yourself as if you want to do something, something new, something different. It's like like you jumping into the open water. For you to reach to the other island. Imagine you have to swim across. Definitely you cannot swim all the way, you need to take breaks. So imagine yourself plunging into the water. You know that your end destination is the island, the other end of the island. So while you swim, you definitely have to take breaks, have to float for some moment. And then you know that at the end of it, you're going to reach the island. So take the plunge, because if you never do that, you will just see the island from where you are. You will never get to the island. So that is one of my advice. That means not to stay comfortable. Take the plunge. My next one is, of course, my next advice is for young engineers. Okay, again, I think it's one thing that is important is to be aware of the situation around you. Because if you start to just focus on the things that you need to do, you may not know what's happening around you. This is something important, because I think at times we fail to recognize. We only focus on what we need to do. We are not aware of what's happening around us, and then we are given something, we fail because we are not prepared. We're not prepared because our focus is always, okay, not what I'm supposed to do. No, it's some other people's business. So why should I take note? Why should I care? So this is something we should change. That so my thing is, if it's not yours, you still have to at least know about it. Okay, and then I think the other thing that I would want our young engineers to think of is think yourself as a pencil. Every one of us is a pencil, but how do you make yourself the outstanding pencil? How do you stand out from the rest? So that you have to find out more about yourself. You have to create the opportunity, because some people just think that, okay, when there's the opportunity will come, I'll just wait for the opportunity and then I'll grab it. But if you think like that, you are just waiting. So try to create the opportunity. Once you create the opportunity, I'm sure, inshallah, rizki will come, and then opportunity will definitely come. But don't wait for it. Create the opportunity. Think yourself as a pencil. How do you make yourself taller than the rest? How do you make your pencil more colorful from the rest? So that is how you should sell yourself. Yeah. Then I have just one more last one maybe. Every time we talk about work-life balance, I think work-life balance, to be honest, it doesn't exist. Now it's all about work-life integration. Work-life integration meaning, and even when you're working, even when you are studying, everything you should integrate them. Integrate everything, even in terms of your family, your health. Try to integrate all this. Everything can be done. It's just that whether you want to bite-size your time, it leaves to you. So try to integrate everything, and only then you can, like for me, I just share a bit. Sometimes it's either I sleep lesser or I sleep more, but importantly, you need to have the adequate rest. You need to to have plenty of rest. You need to drink more water. Take care of your health. That is I think very, very important.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. I see. Right. That's a very good valuable lessons that you have shared with us. That instead of work-life balance, it should be work-life integration, and you have to be outstanding. Okay, so everyone is a pencil and you have to be the outstanding one. You have to find out how to stand out from the rest. Okay, yeah, just a question. Okay, so basically, graduates have a bachelor degree when they join the workforce. Is it necessary to take a master's in, like for example, to move up the ladder? Is it necessary to take an MBA or a master's in management? What do you think?
Okay, I think personally, it depends on where you want to land yourself. You know, of course, some people think it's not necessary. Some people think it's important. So it depends on your organization. You know? I mean, it depends on yourself. What can you get? You know, what can you get if you take a master's? If you continue, you know, further, is there anything that you can learn? Is there anything that you can take away from getting all this? But then again, if you have this, it's also good because it may create the next opportunity for you. So that is where instead of waiting, so create the opportunity. Who knows, with a master's, MBA, it can propel you to the next level of your career. You may never know. You may think that, okay, for my organization, you don't need all these papers, as long as you work hard. But then you may never know, if you have this, it may just accelerate your career progression. So create this. This is what I'm saying, that create all these opportunity instead of waiting. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. That's a good sharing indeed. Okay. So maybe before we end, all right. Actually, there's a question which came in.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They are asking you how's the culture like in SMRT? From your experience and perspective, how is the culture in SMRT?
Everybody just loves the culture SMRT. Okay, I think SMRT culture. Okay, in from what I see from how I've been there for almost 20 years, is that it's an organization that is always wanting the staff to number one is to remain relevant, and number two is always pushing young staff, young engineers to continue with the education. I think SMRT is always encouraging those youngsters, we call them, that to continue their studies. In fact, we have lots of program, to, if you are just a technician, we have programs to help you to continue your studies in taking diploma, at Polytechnic. Even if you are planning to take your degree, we are also very supportive. Somebody is very supportive. So in a way, it's always a culture of trying to get people to upgrade themselves, even if you don't have plans to go further in your studies. There are always courses that are given time and time, for you to take up. So it's a good, I think it's a good organization if you ask me. If not, why I'm there for almost 20 years. So the culture itself, everybody is just, I think at SMRT, safety is always something that everyone is, practicing. So, and at times I know that always people think that SMRT is just an organization that, okay, after you finish your study, that is where you should work. But then that is not the whole purpose of working at SMRT. It's always a culture of motivating each and every one of us, doing better, and doing different things. Yeah.
Okay. So have you interacted with other engineers from private sectors like Bombardier and all this? How are they different from government-linked companies like SMRT?
Oh, okay, I think yes, when I interact with other engineers, of course they have a different perspective. The goal objectives are always different. But then that is something that I find interesting, is learning from them. Learning of how they think, how the organization develops them, you know, how your organization develops you and how you try to create something different from the rest of the industry. So I think yes, there are different engineers at different level. They have different thinking mindset. It's a growing mindset always.
Okay, right. So I think there's no questions that is coming in. Okay, so before we end, I want to share your quote to the audience. Okay, so create your own opportunity, learn wisely, and share broadly. Be the champion of your passion. Okay, so maybe you can explain more about your quote to the audience.
I think when we want to develop ourselves, right, it's always like you're thinking, okay, is what my choice is, what I want to do, is it going to propel me to the next to my next career level? Is it something that my organization is doing? So my take is, you know, if you have example, you know, now what do you call it, pseudo coding, all this is something that you may like it very much, but then you end up in an organization that does not do coding, you know, for some for whatever reason you may do it, your organization is not doing coding, but then that does not stop you from developing your passion. You are always wanting to do certain things that you like, and your organization is your scope, your job scope does not do that. So continue to do what you like most, because you may use that as a skill set. You know, maybe the rest don't have that skill set, and then you will want to develop and implement it in your workplace. So it is the passion that is driving you. You should always take your passion as your driving motivation, and then try to implement. You know, implement this at your workplace. Create something different. Try to create something different when you are at your organization. Of course, when you have, you know, younger engineers, try to share your work experience. Try to share so that, you know, they know what is going to happen. What is it like in 5 years time, in 10 years time? Because sometimes when someone steps into the workplace, they do not know what is going to happen. But then when you share with them, you know, oh, this is how it is. Maybe they open their mindset, and then they have a broader vision. Try to assist each other, and then broadening the mindset.
Okay. So just a question regarding your job, project management. How many people are you managing currently?
Currently, I have 4 staff under me, directly reporting to me. Previously, when I was, I was in a different department. There were almost about 80 people, 80 staff under me, not directly. But then with this, you are able to, you know, disseminate your tasks, disseminate your job, and then try to develop. Importantly is if you have someone under you, working under your direct report, you know, try to develop them, not to micromanage, but then develop. So when you develop them, you're actually making them more confident, and then they are, in a way, they are able to assist you, because you need them to continue with your work.
I see. So it goes back to your quote, which says that to share your knowledge to the one below you.
Yes, you're right.
Right. So it's a beautiful quote. So your passion is actually to be the best rail engineer. Is that your passion?
You are partially right there.
Okay.
My other passion is always to. I find that trying to develop people is something that I would want to, you know, it's something inside my heart, my blood. So developing others is something that I want to do, other than developing myself, because I believe when I try to develop others, I'm actually strengthening myself also.
Okay. Right. Alhamdulillah, Brother Mulyadi. I think we have lots of gems, and it was a beautiful sharing, and we get lots of knowledge from you. Alhamdulillah. So maybe to wrap up, do you have any last words for our audience this morning? Anything that you want to say? Any last words? Okay, or last advices?
my advice, okay, of course, again, is to not to be afraid, take new challenges, and then develop as much as you can, because you may never know when you need them. You know, if you take instances like the COVID-19, you know, everyone is trying to take up new challenges, learn new things. So before we come to such situation again, I hope we don't ever see that. It gives you, you know, in reality, yes, if you keep on constantly upgrading yourself, try to take new skill set, then if something happens, you are already there, you are ready, instead of trying to find something. That's all from me.
Okay. Thank you very much. Right, I think that's all for today. Okay, we will see you in the next session of Engineer Story and Engineer Hope. Right, thank you very much. Mulyadi. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.